Alright, and this is Godot Scripting Tutorial Part 2. This is just going to be an example of making a script. So in this script, let's just make some kind of cube or something that appears and starts rotating whenever you solve when you solve a particular panel. So I'm just going to put this under decorations, under meshes. Here, meshes works. And I'm going to, not a linked instance, I want a fresh node. This is going to be a mesh instance of some kind. So mesh instance. And I don't want this to have collisions, so I'm not going to add a static body or a collision shape. So let's add a mesh to be a cube mesh. And boop and bloop. And by default, this is going to be non-visible. So below this, I'm going to add an animation player. I'm going to make this visible so I can work with it. Oops. And here I want a new animation, which I'm going to call cube rotate. And to this track, I need to add a new thing, which is going to be a property track, which is going to be a track on my mesh instance here, which I haven't named yet. Select property. What one? Spatial translation. Nope, rotation degrees. Rotation degrees is exactly what I want to rotate here. And I'm going to rename this to rotate cube. Hopefully, does that do it down here? I don't know. So, now, if you're familiar with animations, this won't really mean anything. Unless you're familiar with rotations, it won't mean anything to you. I'm going to insert a key here and bring it back. And then I'm going to bring this over here. I don't think I need to actually do that. And I'm going to rotate this cube all the way around. Is that going to report it as 360, or is that going to report it as 0? That reported it as 0. Cool. So let's report it. Let's go over here and insert another key. So now when I play this animation, we should see that the cube rotate. Let's now this animation never has any reason to do anything. So let's go to this thing. Let's attach a thing. Let's call it, rotate cube is already what I want it to be called. And in ready, okay, so the first thing I want to do is export a node path, because I want to be able to connect this to a single node, just one node. Export node path var panel, and I don't need to set a default for that. Now for ready, I want to go self.connect. I forget the syntax for connect because I always do, so I'm just going to open a panel. So connected is equal to self.getNode.connect. I'm not running it on itself. Cool. So here, and in fact, that's exactly the function I want already. So what this will do is, I don't need to have the self there, actually. Self dot, or it just always assumes the same thing as just running the thing normally. It can be nice to be explicit though, so let's do that. So now I am connecting something. Oh, this is not quite right yet. What I want to do this on is self.getNode panel.getNode. So now I'm doing something different here. I'm getting the node that is in my node path, the panel, and from the panel, I'm getting a node. So now that I'm connecting something, I want to go to handle correct, and from handle correct, I want to say animation player dot. What is my, I need to go into the Godot docs here to remember. So in my methods, I have animation play, animation.play. So I need to go to animation.play, and it needs to play cube rotate, because cube rotate is the one that I made. Now let's go down to this animation player and set some other things. Reset unsave current animation renode. Where do I set my properties here? I forget how to make sure that this is a looping animation. So let's go into animation player and see what it tells me. So I could also be doing this with a tween, by the way, instead of our animation player. So tween is another thing you should look into. But animation players are how everything that uses animations in Lingo is handled. So it's what I'm going to, kind of do for this. Get blend time, get animation is play backwards. Nice thing I can do there, instead of making a second thing, is just play backwards. I do not quickly see a thing to just make it loop, so I'm just going to call it like that. And immediately we have a problem. Get node and base null. Oh, I have a problem because I forgot to actually set my panel. And I'm going to do something here that base Godot doesn't do. I'm going to say assert. Let's actually look at what assert does. So assert asserts that the condition is true. If the condition is false, an error is generated. When running from the editor, the running project will also be paused until you resume it. This can be used as a stronger form of push error, yada yada yada. So I have a bool condition, and if it's false, I put out a message. So let's look at what that does. So I want to assert get node or null panel. If this is equal, if this is not equal to null, then I want to send the message, you forgot to set the panel. And I want this to be more useful, so I'm actually going to go a step further. You forgot to set the panel at, and I'm going to add something here, the string of self.getPath2. Or I actually just self.getPath. So now this is going to add the path of this node whenever I forget to add this. Did I forget? Oh, I did forget a bracket. That's why it's not doing that. I have bracket matching turned off since it annoys me more than anything. So now let's reset this, save, and let's try to run again. Assertion failed. You forgot to set the panel at root spatial decorations message rotate cube. This is a terrific assertion. So now let's actually set it to the panel that we wanted to set it to, which was down here, base panel high. And this time it doesn't crash out and it doesn't raise an assert. Now you're popped in. Cool. So now I can solve high, and it's already played that animation. So I need to actually go with this panel not saved and back in, and now you have to wait to pop in again. There you go, you're popped in. So now when I say hi, that's not rotating. Why is it not rotating? What did I do wrong? My debugger has a couple of errors. Handle correct. Oh, I put an extra underscore here, so it was never going to do it. And I said I want my rotate cube, so visible is equal to false. Visible is equal to true. So now my cube is not going to be visible until I solve the panel. It's invisible by default, and it's going to play cube rotate whenever. So there we go. So I already had the panel solved, so the cube's already visible, and when I say hi, now it rotates. And whenever I do it, it rotates. So we have just successfully made a small little script that hooks into a panel and does something. If you didn't understand scripting at all in Godot, I hope this elucidated some parts of the process for you. Otherwise, I guess this wasn't terribly helpful. In the next video, I will be dissecting one of my more complicated scripts. I want to stop.